It's threatened, but it's certainly not dead. And that's because the economic benefits are so overwhelming. Even countries such as the United States that are speaking against it recognize there's only so much you can squeeze it out, because it's really important and it's really essential for people's standard of living and how economies grow in the future.
William Klein at the Peterson Institute, along with what you've written about, is that we look at it as bilateral. I would respectfully suggest the president-elect is very much U.S. China, U.S. Russia, etc. But the leakages of policy means, what does it mean for Vietnam? What does it mean for Argentina? What does it mean for Poland? Do we underestimate the complexity of instituting tariffs?
Oh, absolutely, because they have ripple effects today that they didn't have 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, before global supply chains had really been a part of the world economy. So we're just much more integrated with so many different countries around the world for different components and parts. All manufacturers source globally, and it's not just from one country. So the old trade of 50 years ago or so, where you'd produce a final good and trade a final good, that's not the way things are done anymore. It's really this interwoven mesh of intermediate goods, components, raw materials, and it's just incredibly complex. And so when you hit one country like China, you divert a lot of trade to Vietnam or Mexico or a lot of other countries, and then you become sort of a whack-a-mole. Vietnam is on the radar screen of the Trump administration. So if we hit Vietnam with higher tariffs, well, are things going to go to Cambodia, Malaysia? We don't know. But there are always these ripple effects and these ricochet effects.
So, Doug, just from a policy perspective, are tariffs, are they effective, totally non-effective? How do you think about them?
Well, it really depends on the objective that you're trying to achieve with them. And one of the issues with the Trump administration, both in his first term and coming in, is that there's so many different objectives that he wants to achieve with the tariff. He thinks it's a beautiful word and it accomplishes so much. Is the main goal to raise revenue? Is the main goal to bring back jobs and manufacturers here? Is the main goal to punish other countries and adversaries and decouple from them? Is the main goal to affect their behavior and change their behavior in certain ways? So we have to sort of ask, what is the ultimate goal of using tariffs to achieve certain objectives? And I think it's maybe, it was maybe underrated in the past by past administrations in terms of what they might be able to achieve. But I think President Trump and President-elect Trump sort of overstated what we can accomplish by imposing higher tariffs on countries. We are integrated, but the U.S. isn't necessarily the biggest player in the world as much anymore.
Right.
Teddy Roosevelt used to say, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." I think President Trump speaks very loudly, and we have a smaller stick than we believe.